Standing before us here today are two, well, very similar, but couldn't be more different in theory machines. We have a Hoover Constellation 867A in rose gold, a very early constellation, not no, sorry, 862, you see, very early, that era. Oh, there's a label. This one is an 867A, and it is from the 1980s, no, 1970s, either way, new versus old. I'm not quite sure what's wrong with these. We need to have a look and determine what might need to be done. So, let's have a look at these two space orbs and see if one of them tries to kill me. Yes, hello, my vacuum cleaner chums. How are you today? Yes, these came from one of the people that was at the Barton's meet and obviously transferred some vacuum cleaners to save having to post them, and he gave me two of these. The initial brief was just to, could I remove the suppressor? So we'll see how, if that is all we need to do. But yeah, this one is a very early one. There's some paint, loss, degradation, but compared to how these normally go, it's not too bad at all. The bottom seems flat-ish, it's sort of well worn all the way around really, so one can't really do too much from that. It's been to Chard. Oh, look, it's been to the land of the Henry Hoover, look, somewhere in Chard, Somerset. I bet Mr. AP and JB Stevens had a lot of pneumatic parts in their vacuum shop being based there. Let's open her up, and well, we have a bag. That's good. I mean, it's not a genuine bag. We have a fairly used, fairly crunchy feeling filter as well. So yeah, so far so good. I'd say we'll plug her in, turn her on, and see. Oh, hello! Look, we have some retro pluggage. Look, plain Jane plug. Made in England to BS 1363 standards. Who knows where that was made? Oh yes, and the nice original flex, although I don't know if you can tell, look, it's all sort of starting to twist through age, because it's very, 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 very old. Right, let's see if the suppressor is going to blow up. Dry bearings, that's a pain. Oh, right, so there is old Pinky out of the way. Now, in theory, old Perky here is probably more likely to explode because it will have the more modern suppressor in it, which I think was more destined to fail. But we'll have a look. It might have the original flex on it because it was a white flex. Yes, Phoenix, it was. But I tell you, look at this. We have a very modern plug, so modern that we can take that off of it. So whether we keep that on there, I guess I might. I don't know, we do have lots of retro plugs there. Maybe we should clean a special one up for the owner of these vacuums. And actually, before we do that part, look, this is very clean. Incredibly clean, actually. Even under there, this is what you want to see on a Constellation, even where, being that it's not bent and running off at the side. Inside we again have a paper bag, a Type J paper bag, and a cleaner looking filter. It's all sort of okay, really, isn't it? Let's plug this one in and see how it runs. It's not even turned on at the cleaner. Seem too bad either. In fact, the blue one sounds better off than the pink one. The pink one sounds quite dry indeed. So, do we go the whole way with a full-on refurb? I'm not sure. Let's pop the top off and see what it looks like inside. Look what's behind door number one. We have ourselves a motor. Yes, it is unplugged. Check that before we go too far. Yeah, it's not bad at all really in here. Motor seems fine. I think we will just take the suppressor out of this one. I think this one's been cleaned up very well indeed. This is what you want to see. So yeah, I mean, I think we just pulled that one out. I'm not really going to film it because I don't need to. We just literally got to connect the two wires together and magic will happen. So yeah, I guess that's all right with that one. What's wrong with this one? Or rather, what does this one look like inside? Oh, well, we immediately have two different types of screw. We have a crosshead here and a flat head there. So somebody's been in here before. They should have flatheads at this age. Hoover wouldn't have moved to crossheads until they started with the later ones. Now this one actually doesn't have a suppressor in it at all, so that's nice. Though it's also the one that probably needs, it's got an older style motor in it. That's very nice indeed. It's fine, it's seen some use. I don't think there's really anything to do to this one, perhaps a small dust out because there are some bits in there. I don't know if it needs the full refurb though. Again, it's probably going to help. What do you think? Should I go the whole hog or not? Let's have a think. Well, I've had a thought and asked the bloke who owns these what he would like me to do, but for now, for this one at least, now that we can trust it perhaps a little bit more, I'm going to clean out this dirt. We're going to give her the old quick and dirty while we've got it open. So with the microfiber and the cleaner of your choice, I like this stuff. This seal, we're going to, well, leave it on this one. Oh no, take it off. See, the problem is that all the dirt is going to leak around here. Although it was sealed on at some point, it isn't now. And I think that we'll probably get quite a big improvement by just cleaning up all of the mating faces of this rubber gasket on both sides. And then under here, taking our nice damp cloth and again cleaning out all of this area so that rubber gasket seals nicely against all the paint. And again, you should probably give under here a bit of a clean as well, although it is a bit... I forgot about that bit. Nearly pulled the whole motor out with that. Whoops. And yeah, that and that should, I mean, our motor's sitting back down, that should be all we need to do. We'll get the screws back in. Then with our cover screwed down with its four completely different kinds of screws, you want to go around and give this seal a really good clean. Ideally, yes, I recommend removing the entire lid, removing the seal from there, because obviously all under there is, you know, again, that's what you want to clean out, but it's difficult with the seal fitted. So for now, just do this, do as much as you can, and suppose also do the bag connector as well. What I find it easy to just strip the entire thing down. I've had it washed by now. And with that, I don't feel like it's going to blow a hole in my carpet anymore. And yeah, I mean, oh, it even seems to glide reasonably well, but despite it not being as physically clean as it could be, she runs alright. And the motor wind down's quieting down too as well. You'll find that if they haven't been running a while, the motors do get squeaky. I think the next thing we should do is neuter this one. Well, as I was about to get the cable clips out for this job, I got a message back saying, no, make them like new, go for it. So, let's go to clip the suppressor out of this. We may as well very quickly strip the whole thing down after we've done the easy way. First thing you want to do is to remove and then not lose this little tiny circlet there. So I shall put in my parts box. Then you can push or lever / manoeuvre this axle out, and then the front comes off really easy. Then I like to just pop that circlet back on to there so it doesn't get too lost. Now you can pull off this rubber seal, and this does make the difference. I cannot lie. I'm not just saying this to make money. Look, inside of there, look, all the air is just going to escape straight through there, straight around all of here. Look, it's all dusty and grimy and gritty. And then with that off, we can pop this apart, and then we can take off our handle, oh blimey, with its 2 screws, as long as it doesn't manoeuvre around too much. Then what we can do is undo these 3 screws first of all. Now we can get onto the motor, put the seal in there. The first thing that we want to do is to try and unplug as much of the wires as possible and get rid of all of this stuff. Then unplug and pull out the carbon brushes. See how much dust is in there. Oh, they're replacements as well. They're not genuine Hoover ones, but that's fine. Nobody cares. They carbon and they brush. Oh. So with the 2 wires unplugged, we need to remove these top screws here, which are the longer ones than the fan case. And there's 4. With those screws removed, the carbon brushes out, and these wires unplugged, the coil comes off of the armature, and again, oh dear, the hidden secrets come out. Look at that, that is thick with plaster dust. Oh dear. Under here, there are 2 screws, one this side and one the other. However, before you can get these out, and this is where perhaps problem number 1 might occur, we need to lift up these white, although this one's gone red for some random reason, plastic caps which hold bolts or nuts, as you can see. What you want to do is for the nut to not spin while the bolt does, which you can sometimes do with your fingers, but not on this one. So I'm going to have to get a pair of pliers and hope that both of those come out. Oh dear, this one is stuck fast, and I'm about to start stripping the head off of this side. At 3 spins, it's just not cracking off of the nut. So we'll soak that, leave it, and move on to this bit where we need to find ourselves, and I never know which one it is. Yeah, it's not that one. It's not even this one. It's not even a 14mm. It's some American size, but I don't have that. This works fine. Right, now we undo the 4 bolts on the fan case. And then with the fan case off, oh blimey, I can feel a bit sticking out of there. With the fan case off, we can undo this nut here. And then lay this all out in order. So, nut, then there's a washer, the fan, and the washer. Look, the dirt has got in between the fans. This is what makes it all run out of balance. This is why I always waft it over the wire wheel, just to be sure. There, and then that piece, another washer, another fan, and finally one more washer, and then, well, this bit comes out now. There we go. And then this bit comes out of here. And yeah, look, genuine Hoover bearing carrier. Hey, look at that, look. That's just been on there for years. Greasy, dusty gas. And that's going to be washed, that's going to be washed, that's going to be washed. These will be soaked in boiling water to get all of the gunk off of the blades. which causes it to run out of balance, and these can all go in our pot, which will all be run over with the wire wheel afterwards. Please screw card your screws. I've done enough constellations to be a bit confident now, but if you haven't, you'll need to be careful. Right, how I've been doing this is very gingerly putting clips on it and then trying not to strip out. This bolt's already stripping out. I need to try it with a different screwdriver. Come on. Otherwise we can't do this entire part of it. I'm going to carry on with this, and yeah, look, I'm starting to chew the head up now. They're very shallow bolts. I had it then. Welcome to when a 30-second job turns into a half an hour nightmare. As you can see, it's starting to come. Oh dear though. Ta-da! And I bet it's going to screw nicely back in, as if nothing ever happened. Clean you up with the wire wool. What was all that kerfuffle around? Well, just to get the coil out really, because now we can wash this piece whole. You can leave the carbon brush bits in as long as it's dry afterwards. This bit you just need to sort of brush off and clean really. So yeah, with that taking 27,000 times longer than it should, we can now, I'll go to wash up everything in this box, clean myself down, run the wire wheel over this, then we'll come back and heck, we can compare this when it's fully assembled to the pink one. But we can't do any of that until we smash this lot together into what roughly resembles a Hoover Constellation. Yes, this is how far I take things down. It's not too difficult when you've done a lot of them. When you haven't done one of them, it's okay. It's of the era where, you know, a man or a woman nowadays with a flat blade screwdriver can do all of it. Now we have to get it back together. We're actually going to start with the motor and the fan case, and more specifically with this is the front bearing plate, and if we take our armature, it sits in here. It's not too bad now, but it's ever so dry, because obviously I've washed all of this. This has all been wet, it's all dried, and if you leave the armature in, and I've just got some generic drive and bearing lubricant, I've used 3-in-1 oil before, doesn't really matter. You just got to get it in there nicely, let it soak into the felt strip, and then as soon as you spin it, you should see it and feel it smooth out, and that is where you get your good bearing from. Obviously do the back as well, because it won't have soaked through that much. Really fill it up reasonably, I guess. Don't go doing it so it's pouring out. That should be absolutely fine. 3 spins, a treat. Take that out. This is the top bearing, a round style with 3 rivets which you can take out. So I'm going to go into depth on this because I've had somebody ask me how these work. So yeah, this is the top bearing, which obviously a round bearing like that. I think it might be the same as a Hoover Junior. I'm not actually sure, and I'm not taking this one off to work it out. We don't need that for now. What we actually need to do is get this fan case. So with this facing the top, armature in at the bottom. First small spacer piece on top, then the washer, 1 fan, another washer, this spacer piece, this mid-frame assembly which will sort of sit there, obviously won't centre itself up until we've done the screws up. Where are we? Other washer, other fan, last washer, and the top nut, which has a very fine pitched thread, so you need to be ever so careful to not cross thread it. And yeah, with that all on, we can do up the fan nut nice and tight with our socket. Really quite tight, because obviously you don't want the fans to be slipping under here, otherwise nothing will work at all. Next, sort of line up your 4 holes, then take your fan case and line up the 4 holes once again, and then you want your screws for this part, which will go on from the top into all 4 of the holes. The next part involves getting this coil back into this motor casing. Now, we're not putting the RF suppressor back in, I'll say that now. The motor will only go in one way because there's a sort of handed bit here, which means it'll only fit in that bit one way, which is that way. So the way I do it is you need to get the coil in so that the neutral wire will come out of that side and go straight onto the flex. So with our motor handed, this sat like this, we can drop the coil in. Obviously you've got to feed the wires out so that they don't get trapped. But eventually, there we go, your coil will go in and seat nicely. And this wire here will go to one terminal of the carbon brush, and then this side obviously comes straight out, and the live should, which is sort of here / here, we have to reuse some of the wiring in a minute, be able to go around to that side from the switch, which is here. And it all sort of works rather well once it's together, but we're not quite there yet. We have yet one more fiddly job to do. We have to put these back on, which I think are sort of insulators against the top of the coil, and they don't really go in terribly flat. You have to sort of hold them, and then take our lovely, annoying, still chewed up, although it'll go back together absolutely fine, screw. I just dropped the little washer, there it is, and yeah, pop that through the coil out to the top, and then we'll do up the little nuts, which is very fiddly. There we go, and get the coil bolted fully down. There we go, one coil nicely into place. Now I'm going to put just a little bit in this bottom bearing, not a lot at all, because I think it's like an interference sleeve fit, but a little drop never hurts anybody unless you're an alcoholic, in which case it really will. So yeah, our motor will sit on there, the 4 holes will line up. You need to turn the fan to make sure that everything free spins a treat, and now we can put in our 4 other screws here into this place to hold the motor down. These are the longer screws of the 2. There are 2 sizes, short 3 and then the really long one into the fan case, the 4 same size into here, and that will get that bit done. Our motor is now screwed nicely into place, everything free spins. Now we've got to put the carbon brushes back in so that the electricity can hop from the terminal to the other. Now if you pull this spring guide out here and then hold it out, pop the carbon brushes back in so that the slanty bit, if you're reusing, hugs the armature as it should, and then if you drop that back down, that is almost the spring that keeps the carbon brush down. Then you just put that bit there like that, and our live is going to go on that terminal there. The neutral's already coming out. Oh, where's the second one? So finger underneath, pull it up, and then hold it. Ow, catch your finger. Carbon brush in, drop down, terminal on. This terminal can go on because it's from the coil anyway. He says, losing the connector. There we are. And now it'll free spin a little bit less because obviously it's got the pressure of the carbon brushes pushing against the armature, but that's fine. That is essentially our motor almost done. But I'm now going to move on to the machine because it's a lot easier to get the switch and this wiring block and stuff in without the motor. So again, the first thing we need to do is to take our cable guide, push it through from the inside, but you'll need help. Although once you get it started, it should, like it sort of is doing, pull itself in. You might just need to, there we go, help it along a little bit. Come on, or just pull it right the way through. If it's going to be, it's easier going outside in. Fair enough. There we go. Look, obviously this bit is out here nicely. Now we have our terminal block. I mean, here's our mains cable. We may as well fit that now, being very careful of our original terminals. Oh my goodness, I'm going to ruin it. They will just about go through. You might need to help them out just a little bit, but they'll come. There we go, our terminal block is sorted in. We've got to carry on with it in a bit, but the next thing we're going to do, because I've forgotten this before, is fit our, I don't know what you call this, probably a resonance steady thing, I don't know, piece of black plastic that goes in there. Next we should probably focus on, oh, I've lost it now, probably focus on the switch, assuming I can find, here it is, the switch wiring. Involves this stupid piece here. Oh, if I turn you round, you should be able to see, obviously the switch will sit like that, pretty much. Just got to set one either side. Oh, this is so fiddly. This is like the worst bit of it. I hate this part. And then eventually, when your switch is sat exactly square in the hole with those two parts poking out, get yourself something to squeeze and pull the clip together, and that is the switch fully fitted very nicely indeed. Oh, right. Now we got to, well, we can do one of two things really. I mean, we got to put a ring terminal on the end of this, and then this is what remains of the old circuitry from when we had a suppressor. And what I intend to do, since that will sit there, this will be just the right size to plug in and go, it's that side, onto our live wire like so. And then we should be able to plug everything in and carry on. I think I might have done this ever so slightly. Oh no, go that way. Ooh. Problem, you've got to get that coil the right orientation, otherwise you could just make a wire. Doesn't really matter. All that matters is that you have a line going into the switch, coming out of the switch, through the motor, neutral going out. I'm going to basically put a ring terminal on the end of each of these wires, and then we actually need to do one more thing before we bolt it down for good. That should be all we need. Comment down below if you think I've ruined this vintage machine by cutting the original tabs off, and let me know down below. But for now we need to move on. Now, as you know, there was no post motor diffuser in this, so the hack amongst the community is to get a cheap dishcloth, cut the scour off, and then this will sit on here. There is one long tab that will go through, and you can push it down, push it down like so, and that is that. In fact, I don't even need that link wire at all, because the mains plugs into there and the switch. I am an idiot. What we do need though is our rubber cover, then our plastic part, which I presume packs it out, and then it will sit in there very nicely like so. And yeah, we can put the red to the live, the blue to the neutral, and pop the cover over it all. There, we're getting there now. Our wiring cover is all in, the wires are fitted. Oh, that neutral's a bit egregious, but yeah, our motor is in. I mean, if you have to hack another motor into a Constellation, as long as it's, you know, it's sitting, you have to use the original rubbers so it sits in that groove. As long as it sits on there, you put any old fan case rubber on the top, just fitting this should push it down, and as long as it's clamped in nicely, it will, like, just like how this is fitted, really, it is easy to fit a bigger motor into a Constellation. Next, oh, of course you're a crosshead, rather than a flat head that I have out. Here we go, forgot about that. We can fit our top screws into place, which will clamp down on everything very nicely indeed. Ooh, 2, 3. Nice and tight, and this is the bottom half of our Hoover Constellation pretty much done. What I think I'm going to do next is I'm going to put a plug onto the cable, and then, well, I guess we can test it at this stage. We don't have any suction, but we can see if the motor explodes. Perfect! Oh, look at that, look! Check it's what nice, yeah! Ooh, it's always good when it floats away. Smooth, no squeaking, no wind down grumble. Fantastic. Right. Oh, I haven't got the metal bit to put the filter in, so let's do that. There it is. You didn't make it out the airing cupboard. Oh, I hate this job. You've got to make it bigger by pushing them together after getting this as centered as you can. Oh, and then you've got to sort of bring it, all that happens. Oh, God, I hate doing this bit. Nice and centre, nice and big, so it almost goes over. Nearly. Oh, that'll do. Hasn't gone. Eventually, like so, although that's only the back of the spring. Oh, there we go. All nicely clipped on. Obviously, if you don't have this original piece, then, you know, any cut up HEPA flow bag is going to work for you. Right, now we need the lid, and not that bumper, because that bumper's for a Hoover Celebrity. This bumper, the one that fits the machine, all clean, all nice, all lovely. We may as well pop the handle on while we're at this juncture, and this is also a fiddly part of lining up the screw hole, holding it gently in one hand, and then putting the screws in. And again, it's slightly easier to do it here before it's on the machine, I guess. No, really, you can probably do it either way. But once our handle is on, we can start to hold it up and all that good stuff. Right, now we've got to get it as part of this, and again you sort of drop it down so that these two bits align. Then you take your axle with one of the circlips off and just feed it through. There we go. Then, and I don't know if I'll be able to do this on camera because it is ever so fiddly. You've got to try and get this flipping tiny circlip back on, and you sort of do need it because if you lose it, the rod can walk itself out with the vibration of the machine. Oh my goodness. I hate little circlips. I think that's it there. Done. Hey, we have hingy pivot again. Right. Now, well, we would fit this to the hood, but we're not going to, because I'm going to HEPA flow these machines. And the way that I do that is you simply fit the HEPA flow bag over the metal stub in its entirety, and then you have to sort of help it through there. I mean, you could bend all that right out of the way if it was a tatty machine or you didn't care, but we're not going to go down that route. We're going to leave it like that. Fit the bag. I think we've got one done, folks. It's going to be a long video though. Let's just turn this on. Oh yeah. And it floats really well on a cushion of air, some might say. And it's essentially back to brand new condition. I mean, what we should probably do now is get out old Pinky here and compare and contrast. But obviously with this, we didn't really do any of that. Not a lot of difference in it. But it's all in that wind down. I think, I don't know really. There isn't much in it at all if I've got to unplug one of my lights. Oh yeah, no, this one has. Not a lot, but certainly way more suction. I think this one also floats a little bit better. There's not much in it, The owner wanted them all gone through, both of these. So we are going to take this one apart now. I have to do that one first to compare the motors, and not much in it as I thought. I mean, I can't really look you in the eye and say that you absolutely should do that, because not much of an improvement. But we are, and that's going to give me the perfect chance to show you the motor differences between the old motors and the new ones. So I'll come back when we're holding the beating heart of this vacuum cleaner in our hand. So here I am, and by that regard, here you are with our older motor. This one has seen significantly more use. The commutator is quite worn, and it's also a bit different in that you can't take the top off to do it in two halves. We're going to have to go in to the fan case. So again, roughly the same, it's not too much different. We need to take out these 4 screws around here. With our 4 screws removed and that bit in the wash, we've got to take ourselves a nice cloth so you don't rip your hands to shreds. Hold the fan and get it tight. Check it's the right way. Oh gosh. Got to try and crack this nut off. There we go. Hold the fan, it should go. Now it's loose, we've got to hold the armature because there's a bit of rust. There it goes. Oh, and then we best lay this out so that we can put this back together. So fan nut, washer, fan. No, wait. Nut, washer, fan, washer. Middle bit, it's exactly the same, isn't it? That part again, look, more dust pushing the fans apart. The fans themselves are pretty grubby, but not too bad. Oh, like so. Now what do we do? Yes, now we're actually going to move the carbon brushes a bit now, because this bit is ready to come off, but as soon as we remove it, we're going to rip our carbon brushes. Now, I've already sort of started doing this, in that this brush is loose and will come out like so. And we've actually also got, which I probably should have done to start with, different sort of nuts on here. You're going to just use some pliers, or am I going to actually have to get the correct tool for the job? Come on. We have to get the correct tool to undo. We'll undo both of these nuts. The switch goes onto the green wire, and the neutral goes onto the green wire. So yeah, 2 out the coil, 1 either side. A live and a neutral with the carbon wire going to each one. Now, with all the wiring off, the carbon brushes on these models come off with a screw there. We best just release the carbon brush spring itself. Here it is, both brushes are stuck in there. I hope that's not a bad omen. You can also see that our live has seen some work, because look, we've got 2 very badly stripped down wires there. We're going to have to tidy those up. Let's say this has been desuppressed before. Then with our top screw out, you come round to the back. This one's easy. That one requires some force, but I'll just pull out. Then, because I'm a saddo, I've been taking the entire bolt out for the carbon brush so that I can give it a good clean and polish. And all I'm going to do is wash those completely. Now, there we go. This pops off of here. The armature comes off of here. And yeah, look, lots of historic grot. It smells as well. You'd never get that smell out without washing. This is the coil armature. It's okay. It'll clean up well enough. I don't think there's anything too bad about it. It's just a bit old and will probably be fine for some time. I also noticed that one of the carbon brushes came out, and it's not a proper Hoover Constellation carbon brush, because it used to have a tail on it. Not that that really matters in the grand scheme of things. Where's our other one? It's here, look. You're going to come out? Yeah, there we go. Yeah, it's had a pair of random brushes fitted, and they'll go straight back in because I don't really need to bother about it. Oh my goodness. Now we have these 2 screws again. to care about. Although, unlike the other one, there's no stupid nut on the top, which could be a problem if they don't just crack off. One. Hey, that's what we want to see. Thank you. These two come out. Oh, come on, come out. Ah. Oh, my goodness, use my fingers in a minute. There we go, there we go. And then, in theory, our coil should drop out. And yeah, here is our field coil for our older style Hoover Constellation. It's a 4-wire now, 2 feed wires, 2 carbon brush wires. And yeah, here is the top of our motor. And yeah, this is what makes all the smells, all the grease and grot and everything. I'm now going to wash this up. Yeah, look, all in there, look. That's what you've got to try and get out. Time for this all to be washed up as well, and then well, we can put this one back together and see if we have any improvement, because there's probably not much to be had, but there'll be something. It sounds better overall. That wind down is a little bit annoying. It's about as good as I can get it. I think the top bearing might be slightly worn, but it's, you know, the fact that it runs so well normally is better than nothing. Obviously, it's all been stripped and washed and cleaned and is very nice indeed inside. Oh, I've pulled it off down. Problem when you HEPA one of these is you either, you know, if it's too knackered, bend it out of the way, I guess. But you don't really want to. You've got to be careful. Obviously, our seal is sat there because we don't need it anymore. Benefited from a filter wash, absolute treat. Bless its little heart. And there, now, oh, obviously, because it's HEPA flowed, what do you think? Comment down below. I'm having this conversation in a Facebook group, and I've always been for HEPA flow. It's still worth it in the long run. We can take one of the hose ends, brand new pattern hose ends that I have from Barton. Oh, you can hear the airflow. Yeah, I think that might sort itself out anyway as the machine gets used. So, yeah, you know, it's sort of done. Oh, that's stiff again. That's probably the first time that's ever been put into a machine. So yeah, it's done, it's refurbished, it's as good as it's going to be. It's a generation away from this plastic motored one. It's fine. One last thing we've got to do though is put something on the end of this, but not before we give an honourable look to the plug, which is very vague, it's very plain, it's made in England, but yeah, it's a cheap generic plug, but polished up very nicely. The flex, ooh, the outer casing had cracked where it entered the machine, so I had to chop it down. I've chopped both ends down. Nice, freshly wired in. Bless it, this pink flex, don't bend it too hard, because it will crack. Right, anyway, it can go over there. Yeah, got a hose end from Barton's. Obviously, I got 2 lengths. I need one as well. Right, it's new generic Hoover Flex hose, and one of the ends that my good friend Joe gave me. Problem is, the generic hose ends have been sat in Barton's warehouse for flipping decades, and they are rock hard, which makes it a bit of a pain to fit them. So I made a big boiling jug of water, ow, and ow. Ugh, they're going to get filthy, my hands are dirty. Anyway, but that's fine. We can sort of push this on until we get it, ow, 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 over the clip. Then I think what I'm going to do is we're going to dunk the whole end in, and then, I mean, if it doesn't work, the owner's going to have to glue it. I don't care too much, but it should. No. Oh dear. This is a problem, really. Oh, there we go. You've got to get it over the bump as high as you can. Well, that was truly horrible. I'm going to have to do that again when I make an end for my 427. Oh, I'm not entirely sure this end isn't going to come out, but... Oh yeah, nice. Through the plateaus, we can pull the machine around on its cushion of air. Very nicely indeed. And I have some ones that are actually on their way into the bin because I have better ones now. One of my beige Barton's adapters and the refurbished Electrolux turbo head. And although I think these ones are going to leak a lot of air, it might spin it. Let's have a go. It's a tricky head to spin anyway. You see it sort of changes. But hey, it's picking the bits up. In fact, I know what we can play with. Oh yeah. Sticking down to the rod. Oh, no Hoover. Up you get. Yeah. Hey, that's grand. That is just what you want. Another Hoover Constellation. I mean, we'll get rid of this stuff because it's not part of it, but yeah, another Hoover Constellation reset to brand new, along with a second one, both belonging to the same person. He's got a nice pair. He has a very nice pair. Do you have a nice pair? If so, do let me know down below. And yeah, I think it was worth stripping them all the way down. It's not that difficult. They're a lovely machine to get going with if you want to strip something down, take loads of photos and get a screw card together. But until the next time, and who knows what brand of broken vacuum cleaner, will see you soon. Happy vacuuming.